Yes, we did.
Well, we got to remember, too, what happened 10 years ago today.
Yes, big day. It was the El Reno tornado. That wasn't the only tornado that we had. We had several tornadoes across the state, but our own David Payne, and I know you miss him. He misses you, too. He's going to be back tomorrow, but this was his video he actually shot as he was tracking that tornado out of his truck when he was chasing it back in 2013. You can just see just how big it was, and technically it was an EF3, but here's the thing. We had radar Doppler gusts of up to 295 miles an hour. But the thing is, that part of the tornado, that particular vortex didn't hit any structures. So technically it doesn't count, but certainly an EF5. Okay, but today, not expecting anything like that. We certainly have some rain and storms and some severe weather out west, some strong storms in the main body of the state, but nothing severe. Quite a bit of lightning. It gets a little loud at times, certainly some torrential rainfall as well. And these storms aren't moving a whole lot, or at least they're not moving very quickly. So some minor flooding with these as well. But some storms just around Hinton and Binger and just west of Colony. That one west of Colony is kind of falling apart there. But some Hennessy storms in between Hennessy and Enos, west sides of Enid getting lots of rain and quite a bit of lightning. Also looking at this other storm that's now losing some of its intensity just west of Clio Springs as it heads off to the north, roughly at about 10 miles an hour at best. But lots of storms across the Oklahoma and Texas Panhandle. One severe storm that's just east of Dumas, and it's going to take some time, but eventually that moves into western Oklahoma tonight as well. Partly to mostly sunny, our National Cowboy Museum camera up at our Lucky Star Skycam network. We actually did have some rain and storms even in this camera earlier today. Not the case right now, though. 83 degrees, a south wind at 10 miles an hour, dew points in the middle 60s. Temperatures range from the low to upper 80s across the state, but we do have some low 90s showing up in the southwest. 50s, though, where we currently have storms right now in Guyman. A south wind between about 15 to 25 miles an hour, so a little breezy out there this afternoon. Certainly starting to look a little bit more like summer. This is kind of that summery pattern. Doesn't really feel like spring too much anymore because every day we've got that chance of storms, very isolated, severe threat, also very low. Tomorrow morning, expecting the storms that are currently out to the west to eventually move into western Oklahoma. And then as we go throughout the afternoon and evening, we're going to see even more of those kind of pop up, especially west of I-35. So tomorrow afternoon, still that chance of storms. As we get into Friday morning, we're going to have another chance of storms, primarily in northwest Oklahoma. During the day, though, any one spot across the state, a slight chance of storms. But as we get into Friday evening, Friday night, those storms out to the west, they eventually move across the state. That's good news because that could lead us to a much drier Saturday afternoon. Before this evening, still any one spot, especially in central and western Oklahoma, a slight chance of storms. Well, in Guyman at this point, it's 100%. But overnight and into tomorrow morning, the chance does increase in Oklahoma City. It's still going to be a lot more likely across the western half of the state. With any one of those storms that will have a low chance of becoming severe, I think that's going to be very isolated, and we probably would see up to quarter-size hail wind gusts to 60 miles an hour. Temperatures drop down into the mid and upper 60s overnight tonight. Tomorrow afternoon, we're going to be back in the 80s. Upper 70s, though, in Woodward and Guyman. That's where those chances for rain and storms will be higher. A moderate chance during the day for Oklahoma City. And in the afternoon, still an overall low threat for some isolated severe storms. In the afternoon, though, we could potentially see up to golf ball size hail wind gusts of 65. Tomorrow night into Friday morning, that coverage kind of is confined to the northwest, taking Oklahoma City out of it. During the day Friday, temperatures back in the mid-80s for a lot of us, with a slight chance of rain and storms in central and eastern Oklahoma, but storms are still going to be a little bit more likely later Friday afternoon and evening. But by Friday night to Saturday morning, those storms will move east across the state. And then as we get into Saturday afternoon, temperatures, we're going to shoot for a high of about 83 degrees. We're still several days away. As we get a little bit closer, we're going to be able to fine-tune that timing for you. But at this point, I would say that in the morning, certainly likely rain and storms, but later in the afternoon, eventually, I think it's going to move out. So I do expect to see at least some dry time late in the day. Sunday, another chance of rain and storms looks a lot more likely. By Monday, the chance starts to go back down. We'll be right back.